the week everyone has been waiting for. At least I have been waiting for this week for a long time. David can't stand it every time I bring up November, and I tell him I'm enjoying the process, but November's the best. And we're here.
We're here.
We're in November. David, how are you doing? We have another superstar in studio here to talk with today.
Yeah, we've got some more athleticism in here. Once again, Ryan, we are second and third when it comes to the most athletic people on this show. We've got another really good athlete, Megan Moeller, junior from the women's soccer team. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We appreciate having you. And Ryan just talked about it. We are in November, which Ryan and I didn't plan this, but he opened up my first question very well because we saw on social media women's soccer was blasting it out. Halloween just happened, and you guys had your classic Halloween practice. So can we just hear a little bit, like, what were your favorites? What costume maybe wasn't as good as you were expecting? Just kind of give us the rundown of the costumes that we saw at women's soccer Halloween practice.
Yeah, it was fun. It's always fun every year. I like my favorite costumes are when people don't really care what they look like and they just like go all out.
Go for it.
I think my favorite though, the freshmen did a really good job. They were all like the Scooby-Doo characters and they did it really well. And then Megan was like the mystery machine, which was pretty funny. And I really liked like Emma and Lauren's. They were a soccer mom and dad, and they like brought snacks and like a chair.
Did they have like the orange slices? Like what
the
kind
orange
okay,
slice, yeah, orange slices and Gatorade,
There
and
you go.
the whole time during our game they just sat and watched. But yeah, I was Mr. Clean. I kind of went all out.
I was gonna ask you.
one.
I saw the picture, and once I got over the initial shock of
Oh,
being
yeah.
a little terrified of seeing Megan Moeller bald,
Yeah.
after I got over that, I really liked it. Talk us through the process of that costume. How'd you come up with that idea?
Well, initially I wanted to be Gru from Despicable Me because I sometimes talk like him during like practices and stuff.
What does that
And-
sound like when you talk like Gru?
That's kind of like a teammate only kind of thing.
Okay, so the team only gets to know that.
I won't embarrass myself
There we
too
go.
much on this show.
I respect that.
But then I couldn't find the scarf. That is like the iconic scarf
And you
of
can't
Gru.
you can't be Gru
I'm like, I
without
can't
the
be
scarf.
Gru without
Yeah,
the scarf.
exactly.
So then I was like, who else is bald? And I was like,
Because you were really set on the ball.
I already had like the
Yeah.
nylon thing. I was
Okay.
like, I need to be someone bald. And I was like, Mr. Clean. That's easy. I just have to wear white and a gold earring. And then I tried like putting makeup on my eyebrows like to make them lighter, but they're just so dark and it didn't even work. But people liked it. It was fun.
Did you go around like cleaning stuff, like wiping
Yeah.
stuff down?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd go up to random people and just start like washing
There
them.
you go.
Like, it's like
Do you guys get like a lot of soccer in at this practice? Like you guys
We-
still practice, or this practice is kind of just gone?
well, we did a warm up and we were just laughing the whole time. And then we just played World Cup, which
Okay.
was fun. Got some shot reps in, I guess.
There we go.
Goalies had some saves. And just a little bit of running around. But some people's costumes were a little hard to run around in.
I would think so.
Makai had a literal like dress on to the floor, and she was holding it up, running around, trying to kick it around.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
gonna be a little tough.
it was pretty fun though. And then we just went and had like crumbled apples in the locker room.
I'm one of those people that I kind of forgot that it was Halloween. So driving onto campus yesterday, I didn't really know what day it was, and Coach Pettit is walking out to the field for practice, and I can see who it is because he has the face off, but he's in a gorilla suit. And literally for a second, I'm like, what is going on? Then I remembered it's Halloween. What was the reaction on Coach Pettit's gorilla suit costume?
Well, most people, like the underclassmen, were like, who the heck is this? But I knew it was him because he's recycled that costume quite a bit, actually.
okay.
So I knew. And so I was like, oh, it's just Coach Pettit. But he did tell us that he went into the gym while volleyball was practicing. And they all laughed, but then they were like, genuinely like confused, like who is this
Who is
guy?
this? Yeah.
And they were a little
Could you
scared.
get out of here?
But
Yeah,
he
girl
found
suit
that
walking
very
around.
funny. Yeah, and
That's pretty good. How do we feel about Coach recycling Halloween costumes? Like, do we respect that? We don't really like that much. Yeah.
I mean it's a great costume, but
yeah, I mean, that's a Halloween.
at
though. You
least
gotta do something
space it
different,
out
for
like
sure.
a little bit so
I
that
agree with you.
old player doesn't see it twice.
Exactly. Within the 4 years. We should have a talk with him about that. I agree with that.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Thank you for that good breakdown on the Halloween.
Of course.
I appreciate that. Ryan, you probably want to take it in a more professional
Go ahead.
sense,
That's
I'm
that's
good
totally
just over
fine.
here talking about Halloween.
Well, and it's an important week, and it's November, like we mentioned at the top, and you guys are now in the playoffs, Megan, but it's probably good to start it on a light note. I mean, you all understand, you're a junior here, you understand the importance of this week. For you personally, do you treat it differently? We're recording this, by the way, the day before you guys play Bethany. Does this week feel any different to you? Do you try to make it the same? Are emotions different for you going into a playoff game? Are you going to do something different tonight or tomorrow morning? How is this week maybe different for you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like any other game, just not letting the stress of it get to you too much. Like the reality is if we lose, we're done. And that would be really hard. We love playing Superior in the championship. We've done it for 2 years now, and I don't know. I just preparing emotionally, just like getting all my stuff done, but then also like going to bed early, like getting sleep, eating well. The trainers are really good about like how much we should eat and sleep we're getting, and getting our bodies ready. But yeah, there's a lot at stake, but just like trying to be a good leader and not let like the nerves get to me too much, and just coming out and playing my hardest. I know I have a year left or possibly 2. We'll see.
There's a scoop right there. If you want to just make the official announcement right now and tell us that you're going to play 5 years, we would appreciate that kind of breaking news on the show.
That's okay.
We'll bring you back.
Yeah, bring you back. Maybe year 5. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Just being a leader and trying to, everyone loses at some point unless you're winning the whole NCAA tournament. So it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it'd be pretty awesome if we could keep going.
So share a little bit specifically about Bethany. You mentioned you are one of the leaders on this team. You're only a junior, but you feel like you're one of them with more experience because there's so much underclassmen talent. You've seen them plenty of times in big moments. You just saw them a few weeks ago. You've seen them twice already this year. What challenge does Bethany specifically represent, especially in a semifinal matchup?
Yeah, they're very physical. They're a very physical team. They're very good, foot skilled wise. They can really move the ball around. They have 2 really good center mids that just play through everything. I do respect them. They're a very good team, but it's a challenge. I think we're better. And if we play our game, I think it'll be a challenge, but it'll be a great game where we can totally dominate if we just keep our heads in it. I think our biggest challenge with them is coming into the second half with the same energy, because they can get pretty riled up and emotional if we're winning, and that can cause players to be hurt and some collisions that are unnecessary. But if we just control it emotionally and the game point wise, I think we'll be fine.
Ryan and I love storylines. We love talking about different matchups and specifically rivalries too. And I think it would be safe to say that this game against Bethany has kind of turned into a rivalry over the last 2 years. 3 times in a row, you guys have played them. Once in the UMAC semifinal last year, you guys won by 1 goal. Both matchups this year, you guys have won by 1 goal. Last week, you guys played them. It was a classic finish. You guys were up 2-0. They scored twice. You guys scored, I think it was in the 82nd minute or so. You guys snuck that one out at their place. You're playing them a week later. What have these matchups been like? You talked about them a little bit as a team, but when you know you're going into a game that it's going to be close, it's been a team that you've had so many good matchups with. What's it like kind of getting ready for a game like that, against a team like that?
We've been talking a lot about just the first 20 minutes of the game, just really pounding it and going out all energy, all in, the whole first 20 minutes. And that really helps us and kind of determines the game. Knowing that I'll probably get hurt or not hurt, but slammed a couple times, just getting mentally prepared. It'll be tough and it's going to be a hard game and it's not going to be easy and parts of it aren't going to be fun, but just having that mental grit before going into it is going to be the most important for us.
How does Coach Pettit and the coaching staff handle these close, tight, stressful games? Does he get nervous over there? Would he maybe not mind if you guys didn't let this one be a 1-goal game? Like his heart rate can maybe use a little bit of a break. How does he handle those tight games?
He defends us a lot. Like if we get hit, he defends us. The first time we played, he got a little riled up at the end, and I had to like, it's okay, coach. Like we got this. Like we can do this. He definitely would appreciate us not letting it become a close game. I would appreciate it. It would be great because then we can get more players in too and save some of the starters for Superior because that'll be just as challenging.
For sure. And you talk about this time of year physically, and you talked a little bit about, getting a lot of sleep, eating the right things. And the legendary trainer at Northwestern, Hannah, I'm sure is on you guys about that. What is kind of the mental and physical preparation when you're entering these weeks where you play a lot of games, not back to back, but with only a couple days kind of in between?
Yeah. It's definitely been.
Hannah's probably listening, so she's probably tightly taking notes, and she's gonna grade everything you say. Which I got to be careful what I say too. I don't want to get in trouble with Hannah either.
Well, carbs and protein.
Yeah, there we go.
I definitely take advantage of this time of the year when I'm like burning so much. I'm like, give it all to give me all the pasta, like all of it. Yeah. Just like really eating right, and Hannah has definitely yelled at us a little bit with the amount that we eat. Sometimes we definitely could be eating more with the amount that we're getting hit and running. And then emotionally, just making sure like we're all going to chapels and like just staying right with God. I think that always helps. I think it gives us a really big leg in the game, like above other teams. Like we all love each other so much. And like other teams have said that we just love each other. And I think that's important to not let frustrations and practices and in games like get the best of us because that's kind of what allows us to win a lot of games.
For sure.
We've talked a little bit, Megan, about coming into a big matchup in a week, coming into a couple big games you hope, a couple, obviously Bethany first things first. But for you, I got to say, you're a joy to watch because you wear your heart on your sleeve. Like if you're making a long run and there's a ball coming up the field and the defender just gets back or you just miss the goal, like we can see your frustration. But I say that in a good way. Like it shows how much you care when you're running around the pitch. And, I don't know how you'll take this, but Caitlin and I have called some games. We call you from time to time the Energizer Bunny because you just keep going, even if it's the 75th, 80th minute. Have you always been that way, if you will? Because we see, I think of a Haley Mersberger or even a Maya Chan. Like, I know they have fire in them, and I know they really want to win, and you know that too, but not every player shows it the same way. So what makes you tick, if you will, during a game to show that emotion? And have you always been that way when you look back?
I think I have always been that way.
Yeah.
Just always being so passionate about any sport I play. I did basketball in high school, and that I always got pretty riled up too. I think I've definitely channeled it better and definitely still working on it. Sometimes it gets the best of me, but I do think it does bring a lot as well. Just people can see how much I want it, and it makes my teammates want it too, I think. Definitely working on trying to not be as emotional, but I think it is important to care as much as I do, and sometimes more. But yeah, I don't know. It's just how I've always been and how I am. And
yeah. Well, and then those highs are that much higher. Like, it's a joy when you score. Like, there's a big celebration. There should be, because it takes a lot of work, obviously, to get there. So you talk about your guys' whole unit, and you're each wired differently, obviously. But these are the weeks you want to peak. But that being said, this whole season, you've had a really, really successful year, bringing in a lot of new pieces. You're into a higher role now as an upperclassman, as a leader. What has made you guys so successful this year, do you think, in your junior season?
I think specifically for me, but also as a team, just being more selfless. It was definitely a big role change for me this year. I haven't been scoring as much as I did last year, and Haley's kind of and I love her to death. And she's definitely up there with the goals. She's tied for number one in the nation. And at times it is a little hard for me because I'm that was my role last year. But I don't think a lot of the team could that she could accomplish that goal without the whole team.
For sure.
And we've just like done really well with encouraging each other and pushing each other in practice and giving those good balls through and assists. And I give a lot of credit to the defense. They don't let a lot through. And like Lauren, she puts her body on the line every single game, to the point where she gets a black eye and like all this stuff. So I think my team is just really selfless with like not making it about themselves, but also like putting everything on the line.
Awesome. And you bring up Haley, and I'm glad you did because, not selling yourself short, you've scored a lot of goals this year too. And you and Haley have kind of become a dynamic goal-scoring duo. What's that been like, maybe in past years where the goals behind you were a little bit more spread out? Now you kind of have somebody up front with you that's also scoring a lot of goals along with yourself. What's kind of that change been like, and how do you guys really play off each other? What's it been like kind of being in that goal-scoring duo with Haley?
Yeah, it's been awesome because it's not just me on top.
Yeah.
That was a big challenge. We played with 3 in the middle and then just 1 on top. So there was a lot of pressure on me, and I would get very tired just like running across the field and up and down. So it is nice to have someone else to rely on up there who I know can score. Obviously, she can score. But also when I get the ball and give her one over the top, I know she's just going to get there. I just know she is, or if I'm taking a shot, she's going to follow that. It's been a big relief, and I know I can rely on her and count on her, and she can with me as well. Like, she gives me those balls, and I get there, and we're very selfless with each other. I forget what game it was, but we did like this back and forth, like all the way up the field, and didn't end up scoring, but it just was a great example of not being selfish and just being there for each other.
And you talk about your game specifically. You have really become a very good passer. You have a lot of assists this season. I think it's your career high.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're at 5 right now on the season, not with the stats in front of me. But has that been something that you've really put an emphasis on? Like, hey, coming into the year, I want to, really help our offense in that way too, because it's been a noticeable improvement this year.
Yeah. I think last year I only had like 2 assists the whole season. I was just talking to Coach Pettit. I don't think that the amount of assists that are on there is right. I'm like, I swear I get one a game, and last game we had 2. But I think
you got to talk to the stats guys.
I know.
It sounds like
It's mostly the other schools, though. It's mostly the other schools.
Okay.
But I don't know. Like, I didn't expect coming into the season that I would have a lot of assists. But I've taken a lot of pride and joy out of that. Just switching roles. And then Coach Pettit always says that once all the attention's on one person, it opens it up so much for the other forwards. So I think next year the conference isn't going to know what to do with Haley and I, because we've already shown that we're great. We work so well together, and I think maybe next year she'll have more assists and maybe I'll have more goals. But we kind of count it as our own record because like Haley's great. She goes every game, like every time I give her a pass, she's like, I love you. Like, I couldn't do this without you, it makes me happy. But I love seeing her succeed so much.
For sure. And Haley came on the show a few weeks ago, and I have to address it for our listeners who heard that too. Do you have any response to the fact that she didn't know you? She doesn't remember you as a whatever grade it was, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade classmate. How do you respond to that? We're giving you the mic, the open floor, and answer this question that we're all dying to know. Do you remember Haley back in those days?
I do remember Haley.
Okay, so it goes one way.
It did go one way, apparently. I remember their family moving to Texas, and I was sad. I didn't know her that well, but I was like, oh, that's sad. Like, some family friends moving away. But yeah, I definitely didn't start a good relationship with her until she came back. But on the record, I did know who she was, and when I did hear that, I was very, very hurt, deeply hurt.
So it's good to know our podcast started some rifts between teammates.
I asked her about it later.
That had to be worked through. So, but you guys did end up hiring her at your ice cream shop, despite her not remembering you as an elementary student. So what's she like as an ice cream employee? We got to know this. Is she pretty fast, scooping? Does she have any deficiencies in her ability to scoop ice cream? What's she like as a employee?
Well, she's a very good employee, just as she is on the soccer field. I guess I was kind of like manager over her last
Okay,
last
that's good to know.
season, so it was interesting. But her and I have a ton of fun like during our shifts, just as we do like on the field. Um, I would crack a lot of jokes, and she just could never stop laughing. And I'd randomly come up to her and sing a little bit, and she just would not stop laughing. So it was just like a back and forth, like just had a good time. But yeah, she was a great employee. I think she's being hired again. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe if she claims to know me, then she can be rehired.
There we go. I like that.
So you talk about connections, Megan, that we're talking about, and you obviously had one for a while with your sister, your older sister Natalie, and playing with her last season and then the season before as well. What was that like, playing with her for so many years? And then has it felt really different? I mean, now we're into November and we've played most of the season, but not seeing her out on the field with you. And then what's that relationship like going forward? Is she sending you texts and notes and saying like, hey, do this better, Megan, or you did this really well? Like, are you still connected by soccer even though she's left Northwestern now?
Yeah, and even before we played here, like we played, I played on her team in grade school and middle school, high school. Like we just always played together. So, I mean, it was awesome playing here with her. Not a lot of people get to experience that. And yeah, just that automatic connection, encouragement, constructive criticism, just like all of that in one was so great for 2 years. So yeah, it was very weird coming here, especially preseason. Her not being here, and she was always my person to talk to about things. But she does send me texts like, wow, like good game, or I'll be watching tonight. You got it, or she's come and watched a couple games and sat in the locker room, and that's just felt so cool to have her. She'll come in and give her input on the game, and it's just pretty. It's super cool. Yeah, we still talk. Which
That's
is
awesome.
Good. I guess we're sisters. We have to.
That's valid.
So, Megan, you've really kind of transformed these last couple of years. You were a freshman, you were a sophomore, and you talked about with your sister. She was kind of the upperclassman. You were just getting started your college career. This year, you're a junior. Ryan talked about it. You've transitioned kind of into a leadership role, an upperclassman, and you have a lot of underclassmen who are playing a lot, getting a lot of minutes. How has your kind of perspective change as you've kind of turned into an upperclassman and more of a leader on the team?
Yeah, it's different because we lost like half of our starting lineup. So it was definitely a rebuilding year, I'd say, like with just trying to figure out positions and everything, because last class was just so large and very talented. So just like playing with people who don't necessarily know the game as well has been a challenge, but it's been really cool to just like help the underclassmen, like, hey, instead of doing this, maybe look here. Like, you're doing a good job, but it all comes with experience. And just seeing how well the senior class my freshman year and the senior class last year did that for me just encourages me to do that for them. I love the freshmen and the sophomores and juniors and seniors, but definitely has been really fun to, like, coach people along and stepping into a different role where I have a little bit more say on the team.
Well, you classified it as a rebuilding year, and you guys won 10 conference games, and you're number 2 seed in the UMAC. So that's probably as good of a rebuilding year as you could ask for.
I know.
So you guys
they say that in sports all the time, though, David. Our favorite teams say it's a competitive rebuild. It's not a full rebuild.
Yeah.
We're going to be competitive as we rebuild.
UNW
So
women's soccer pulled it off. So
yeah,
they
they normally
Yeah, they
teams
should
can't
be
do it.
scared for next year. The rest
I
of
like
the
that.
conference.
I like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
We're losing some great seniors, but showing like the class that we got this year, like hopefully we can replace them well. I think we can. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the final one for me, Megan. So you do a lot more than just soccer here at Northwestern. You lead Praise Chapel. You're involved, obviously, social life, all these other things as a college student. It's one thing to be a student athlete and then handle a whole class load. You do even more than that. Why is it all worth it? And what has your Northwestern experience been like now, 2 years and change in? Do you ever feel like, wow, this is so much. How do I handle all this? Or what do you gain from all those different avenues?
Wow, yeah. Right now I don't feel like I have a lot of time. Which is it's great and it's challenging and it's stretching me a lot and just trying to figure out what's important to me. But especially with worship, like I've loved doing that my whole life. My dad was a worship leader at my church, and I was involved for like a long time before coming here. And that's just something that's so important to me, and a way that I can serve as well. I think it's so important, like even with our like busyness, to like serve in some way in the church, even though like Northwestern's necessarily not a church. Like that's how I'm serving the kingdom, which is rewarding, challenging, a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't really understand. But I don't know. I wish I could do even more. Like I wish I could play basketball here and join lacrosse and do all this different stuff. But yeah, what I'm doing now, I've just been loving for the last 2 years.
That's
3
awesome.
years. Jeez.
What are the nerves like playing a soccer game versus a singing performance? And you've done, for Northwestern sports fans, they'll know this. You've sang the national anthem at a lot of big games. All right, the conference championship game for basketball last year, as crowded as I've ever seen that gym, and you stepped up and you rocked the national anthem out of the park. You did it at the opening football game this season with a huge crowd. What are the nerves like playing athletically versus a singing performance? Are they the same, different?
Yeah, it's very different. I don't know. Like, I get more nervous out of all three of those, like worship, anthem, and soccer. I get the most nervous for the anthem.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the words are not in front of me. And it's something I've saying like hundreds of times, but literally before I'm literally like going through my head, this line, this line, this line. I'm like, if you screw up the anthem, like everyone's going to remember that for so many years. Like, oh yeah, that was the girl who got words wrong. And they're like, how did they get words wrong? It's like, so that's been the most stressful.
I have to ask this because you've never messed it up when I've seen you do it. Have you ever messed up the words in the national anthem?
I have not.
There we go.
When practicing, I have. And then that makes it even more scary. Or if, like, somehow I choose the wrong key and then you just can't hit the note. Like, oof. Out here, it's different. Like, on the field, I like singing in the gym more. Yeah, because the echo isn't as, like, bad as out here. Like, I'll be singing one line and then I'll hear the same line, like, a second later.
It's very bizarre. I've had to host a few like halftime performances out there, and you have to really catch yourself from like talking really slow, or in your case, singing really slow, because you're hearing the words like coming back to you. So it's very bizarre.
Yeah, I'm like tapping my foot like, yeah, like this is the beat I have to do, and like forget about everything else. But yeah, it's different. They're all different, but I'd say I don't get as nervous for like soccer games and worship because I'm just so used to it. Definitely, like, the first, like, game of the season is, like, heart is just pounding. Or if, like, a PK, like, pounding. But you get pretty used to it after about 15 years
you do pretty
playing.
well in all three of those roles. That is for sure. Last question we have for you. I have an answer to this, so I'm excited to hear what your answer is. What is your favorite goal that you've ever scored at the University of Northwestern? I have one from this year that sticks out in my mind from you, but I'm excited to hear what your answer is.
Like scoring here at Northwestern?
Well, it could be on the road too. Just in your career as a University of Northwestern Eagle, that goal that you think of where you're like, you know, you're a humble person, but even in your head, you're like, okay, that was pretty nice. That was a pretty good goal. And there's one in my head this year that was an absolute highlight reel that I'm excited to hear if you say that's your answer.
Jeez, I can't even remember that one. I'd say my favorite goal that I've scored has been against Superior last year. In our second game against them, we were playing there. It was 0-0, and I just scored the screamer outside of the 18, and it just like went right over the goalie's head, and it was 1-0, and we ended up tying that game because the ref had someone kick a PK, which I don't agree with. But that's been my favorite. I think your favorite was the one that was like 37 yards out. I remember.
It was against St. Benedict this year. They were a really good team.
Yeah.
Nationally ranked. And their goalie kind of kept coming out like insanely far. And you got the ball, and I don't even know how you did it. Like, you were facing your own net. Someone passed it to you. You turned. And I think in your head, you probably knew the goalie was coming out, and you just launched it from probably 35, 37 yards out. And it just was like majestic the way it sailed over the goalie and into the net. So that was my favorite you've ever scored. Does that at least crack your top couple, or that's not even up there for you?
That one's pretty good. I would say that. the camera didn't even get it, so I didn't even get to watch. It was no one ever expected.
So I shouldn't have brought that up. Well, that was a highlight reel, and you've had a lot of highlight reels. Ryan and I will be watching tomorrow as you face off against the number 3 seed Bethany Lutheran Vikings at Reynolds Field at 4:00. So fans should get out there, support you guys. Megan, you're a joy to have on the podcast. You're a joy to watch play soccer. We'll be cheering you on tomorrow. Good luck in that game. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Megan.
Appreciate you.